war crimes, destruction, the endless suffering of civilians in Gaza, hospitals reduced to rubble, children buried under rubbles, entire families wiped out in seconds. The world sees it, yet Israel remains shielded. Other nations have faced crippling sanctions for far less. So why not Israel? Is it the iron grip of US veto power at the United Nations? Is it Israel's strategic role in the Middle East, a partner too valuable to lose? Or perhaps, is it the billions tied to arms sales, military aid, and global tech interests that Tel Aviv controls? The question is unavoidable. Why does the world rush to sanction Russia for invading Ukraine, yet hesitant to sanction Israel for bombing Gaza? This is more than politics. It's about hypocrisy, double standards, and the death of international justice. Let's start here. Justice or politics? The truth is that in the international system, justice is rarely neutral. It is often political, and Israel's case proves it. At the United Nations, dozens of resolutions condemning Israel's actions have been passed, and yet, almost every time, the United States steps in with a veto, killing accountability before it even begins. So, is this about justice or about power, protecting power? If a country has the right allies and the right weapons and the right economic ties, suddenly international law becomes flexible. Suddenly, war crimes looks like self-defense. That is why Israel continues to act above the law, because politics, not justice, decides the outcomes. The second answer lies in geopolitics. The United States provides Israel with more than $3 billion in military aids every year. Beyond money, Israel is considered America's closest ally in the Middle East, a region critical for oil routes, intelligence gathering, and countering rivals like Iran. With this kind of partnership, Washington has no interest in pushing Israel. Instead, it shields it at every turn. Every time the UN Security Council considers sanctions, the American veto is ready. Not because Israel is innocent, but because Israel is useful. In the brutal language of geopolitics, human rights matter less than strategic interests. This brings us to geopolitics of hypocrisy. Considering this, Russia invades Ukraine, and within weeks, the world imposes some of the harshest sanctions ever seen. Banks frozen, oligarchs hunted, trade restricted. But when Israel launches bombing campaigns, that flattened Gaza, killing thousands of civilians. Silence. No sanctions. No trade bans. No global outrage strong enough to move action. Why? Because Russia is a rival, Israel is an ally. So international law bends not for morality, but for convenience. This hypocrisy is why many in the global south no longer trust the so-called rules-based order. They see it as rules for the weak, privileges for the powerful. But there is also money, a lot of it. Israel is not just a recipient of aid. It is a global player in the arms trade. It exports drones, surveillance tools, and cybersecurity systems used by governments across the world. Many of the same nations that could sanction Israel also profit from Israel's weapons and technology. For them, condemning Israel is bad for business. Human rights in this equation become secondary. Profit comes first, and when bombs fall on Gaza, the silence of the West is not confusion, it is calculation. They are counting dollars, not lives. Then there is the battlefield of information. Western mainstream media often frame Israel strikes as self-defense, while Palestinian resistance is labeled terrorism. This framing is not neutral. It shapes how the world understands the conflict, and it makes sanctions politically dangerous for Western leaders. If you criticize Israel too strongly, you risk being branded anti-Semitic, even when your concern is about human rights, not religion. This narrative control acts as a shield, preventing accountability and silencing debate. And finally, the legal system itself. The International Criminal Court and International Court of Justice act swiftly against weaker nations, African leaders, Middle Eastern dictators, even Russian officials, all targeted. But when it comes to Israel, progress is painfully slow. Delays, investigations that go nowhere, political pressure behind the scenes. The results? Israel remains above international law, not because it is innocent, but because the law itself is selective. It bends for the powerful, it crushes the powerless, and Gaza is the living proof. So we return to our central question. Why is it so difficult to sanction Israel? The answer is simple. Because in the world we live in, justice is not universal. It is political. It is selective. It is shaped by money, power, and alliances. The world sanctions Russia, Iran, and North Korea, but shields Israel. This is not about protecting human rights. This is about protecting interests. And until the world confronts this hypocrisy, until it admits that human rights cannot be applied selectively, the people of Gaza and countless others across the globe will continue to pay the price. Justice or politics? The case of Israel and Gaza gives you the answer. In today's world, justice serves power, not people. And that should disturb every one of us. Thank you.